Town Council on January the 18th, 2018 at 7 p.m. in Council Chambers. And I would just like to welcome all of you to attending this special meeting on budget issues. And we certainly appreciate that often members of the public come up with very interesting ideas that we might not have considered. I think this is the third or fourth year that we've done this, and we've always had good participation from people in our community, and we're always interested in hearing what particular things are of interest to you. To be fair, we are just here to listen tonight, and we will absolutely look at all the ideas. We will have staff write up a report for us, and we will then look at how they might fit in to our town budget. And because, as you will hear, we have several things that we have already identified as being positive. And we will then make a decision on which things we can fund and which we can't, and for how much. So not everything will be funded. You know that, and it depends on how it fits, whether it's a possibility of being accepted by the people that are looking after our budget, whether it fits in with our town plan. And so we're just here to kind of listen, and I will read the, first of all, the opening remarks first and then the adopted. Okay, fair enough. So I will read the statement from the chair first. Statement of the chair, public budget meeting, January the 18th. I would like to welcome members of the community who are present in council chambers and those who are viewing the meeting via live video streaming. This special open meeting is convened to allow the public to make presentation to council with respect to the town of Osoyoos 2018 budget process. Every person present shall be given a reasonable opportunity to provide input to the town of Osoyoos 2018 budget process. No one will be discouraged or prevented from making his or her views known. However, it is important that you restrict your remarks to matters relative to the budget process and also respect the conduct of the meeting by addressing your comments through the chair. When speaking, please proceed to the microphone and commence your remarks by clearly stating your name and address. If you wish your entire address to form part of the public minutes, please state so for record-keeping purposes, and only your street number will be recorded. Your full address will be kept on file with the town. If they wish, members of council may ask you questions following your presentation. However, the function of council at this public meeting is to listen to you and receive your input, rather than to debate the merits of your submission. It is requested that presentations by members of the public be limited to a maximum of 5 minutes each. If a person has additional information that he or she is unable to provide within that time frame, he or she will be given further opportunity to address council once all other interested members of the public have been heard a first time. Thank you for your cooperation. And Mrs. Hilson asked that if any of you, when you're making your presentation, have some notes or something you would like to submit, she will include that as part of the minutes for tonight's meeting. Thank you. So we have no late items, so we need a motion, please, that the special open meeting agenda be adopted. Councillor Youngberg, Councillor Campbell, all in favor. Thank you.
I'm in favor.
Thank you. And we have two presentations before we have public meetings, and one is the budget presentation from Mr. Zackel, our Chief Administrative Officer. No, it says that in my binder. He is the Chief Financial Officer.
He's a big one.
Mr. Zackel.
Thank you, Mayor McKortoff. So the 2018 budget framework principles. 1, to ensure service levels in all operations and facilities are cost-effective and meeting expectations of residents and visitors. 2, complete priority projects identified by council and department directors. 3, identify sufficient contingency to respond to unforeseen expenditures. 4, adjust capital expenditures to maintain current service levels. 5, maintain property tax policy of increases to cost of living as directed by current financial plan objectives and policy. 6, establish a museum land restoration fund to lessen the impact when the museum relocates. 7, to continue contributing to a police reserve fund to establish sufficient reserves. 8, establish a waste recycling initiative reserve fund to lessen the impact for transitioning to a new bin collection system. And 9, establish a water metering reserve fund to lessen the impact for moving towards water metering. So getting into the 2018 budget and significant operating capital changes, some highlighted changes. The budget's being presented to council with a 2.93% increase to property taxes. This is an increase of $71,000 in tax-based revenue, and new construction property taxation is estimated at $9,459. 2.93% is to offset the increases in our net operating costs. Debt payments for the fire hall started in 2017, and the full annual debt payments will begin in 2018. This is paid for by the town of Osoyoos, the Osoyoos Rural Fire Protection District, and the Osoyoos Indian Band. Garbage and recycling fees are proposed to increase by $3 to $134, or it's 3% to $134. Sewer rates are being proposed to be increased by $9.66, which is a 4% increase, and that's to bring the rate up to $251.10, and in the rural area to $344.10. This is a $53,100 increase in revenues. Water rates proposed to increase by $13.42 in the town for a total of $348.96, which is a 4% increase in the town. And in the water district, proposing to increase by $13.45 to bring that number to $408.97, which is a 3.4% increase to those rates. Under wages and benefits, increased by $110,455 to account for a 1.85% increase in wages and a 0.15% increase in benefits, and for the staffing position adjustments for the admin support, building service worker, and utility position. Our CMP budget has increased to $850,000 to account for the entire calendar year in 2018. Currently, council is in negotiations with the province, which needs to be finalized before April 1st of this year. Council stipend is increased by $1,300, an increase in auditing costs of $2,580. Revenues have decreased by $15,720 for the rental of the old health unit building, with Destination Osoyoos moving to their new location. Ringette School is not planned to operate in 2018, which is a loss of $11,000 in revenue. Legal fees are increasing by $5,000 to a total of $45,000. Elections budget for 2018 is set at $25,000. In 2018, a feasibility study is to be done on the fire chief position, which is $25,000. Under equipment financing, the town is proposing to finance two vehicles. It's a 3/4-ton truck and a new Kubota tractor. Under the landfill, the budget went up by $8,040 in 2018 to account for increases in contracts, the cost of living index and the transportation cost of living index, and a new garbage and recycling contract that will be starting in July of this year. Parks wages increased by $45,760. This is to account for the increased cleanings for parks washrooms and reallocation of public works staff. Our debt charges have increased by $200,990, and this is to account for the fire hall construction project. In 2018 or 17, only the full interest was paid. In 2018, both interest and principal payments will begin. The town's portion of the total fire hall debt is $281,390, or the total town's portion of the total fire hall debt of $281,390 is $192,668. We've got some reserve fund transfers, which will be proposed for 2018. That's Marina for $11,500, and this is being funded from the Marina lease revenues. Fire Department Equipment Reserve, which is a joint reserve fund of $14,530. Museum Land Restoration, $10,000. RCMP Reserve Fund, $17,695. which is the amount that we received from police revenue sharing for police fines. Waste recycling initiatives of $10,000. Water meter reserve fund of $125,000. We have in 2018 funds available for capital expenditures. In our general fund, we have $508,005. Under our sewer fund, we have $495,195. And under water operating fund, we have $546,525. Cost to an average single-family residence with an assessment of $409,633 in 2018 versus an average assessment of $352,862 in 2017 will pay an additional $131 in taxes and user fees for 2018. Some of the larger portions are municipal taxes, $31.90, policing, $36.97, and fire hall debt, $36.39. And that's my report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Zackel. And now we will have the business plan presentation from Mr. Romanko.
Thank you, Mayor McKortoff. The Director of Finance has provided council and the public with an overview of the financial changes proposed in the 2018 budget and capital budget. The 2018 to 2021 business plan identifies projects identified for implementation in 2018 and plan for future years. The business plan provides transparency to future community investments, resource allocations, projects, and staff activities. The business plan also must be fluid enough to respond to emerging events in the community and council direction. Council approves the 2018 operating budget, 5-year capital plan, and 4-year business plan. The business plan reinforces the delivery of core services and service levels. Some of the projects identified for 2018 implementation have been carried over from the last year due to shifting priorities or factors that delayed in implementation. The business plan also identifies special projects and investments that Council is considering. I'm taking this opportunity to highlight some of the key activities proposed in this year's budget and business plan. Starting first in general capital and parks, canal trail lighting infrastructure from 74th Avenue to Highway 3 may continue subject to the resort municipality funding. New washrooms are proposed for construction, one at Legion Beach and one at Cottonwood Park. The dog park upgrades and ball diamond improvements will be completed in the West Bench. This has received pre-budget approval already. The outdoor pickleball courts will be completed. This project is probably about 80% complete right now. New welcome entrance signs will be constructed. The implementation of paid parking at the boat trailer area by installation of a ticket dispensing machine. There's also a new playground proposed for the Southeast Meadowlark subdivision. In terms of road infrastructure improvements, the plan is to resurface 62nd Avenue at Highway 97 all the way through to 62nd Avenue to the secondary school. Finch Crescent resurfacing north of 74th Avenue is being carried over into 2018 from 2017, and that project will continue as well. In terms of water and sewer, we continue with the twinning project, which has received grant funding, the twinning project in the rural area. A major project that will be initiated in this year will be the development of the sewer main lift reconstruction project tender. This will be approximately a $3 million project and will require approximately a $1.7 million borrowing. We have probably made 3, maybe 4 grant applications for this project over the years, and unfortunately it hasn't surfaced as a priority. So it's come now that we must move on this project and provide our own funding, some of which will come through reserves and some through from borrowing. Highway 3 stormwater control, 85th Street to Park Place. Again, another project that has been in the books for a while, and this will be 50% funded by the Ministry of Transportation. Cell number 3 liner replacement, and plans are in place to assist the golf course in the event they initiate their irrigation restoration project, and $300,000 of reserves has been set aside for this. In terms of planning, we'll continue to complete the urban forestry plan, which was initiated in 2017. The results of the late 2017 engineering assessment of the current town building will be presented to council, and at a minimum, roof repairs will have to be implemented in 2018. This will also provide us the time to review and see whether planned renovations will occur, or plans will have to be made for construction of a new administration building. Final design for the Gyro Park Pier was initiated in 2017 and will be completed in 2018. This is proceeding under a rural development grant as well. The age-friendly plan will be completed that will assess public infrastructure and programming to make recommendations on making infrastructure more accessible and expand program development opportunities. This is another program that is funded through grant. The Healthcare Central Community Facility Feasibility Study will be completed in 2018. Again, another project that was funded through grant funding. Funding is made available to assist with the planning of a regional pool. Application for boundary expansion in the East Bench and the Lakeshore Drive areas will proceed as an activity in 2018. An assessment of the fire chief position to determine the need for a full-time fire chief will also occur. Programming and staff changes, no changes to service levels. Minor permanent manpower additions were made to offset increased workloads in building maintenance and public works. Some temporary manpower requests were also placed in the budget to enable specific projects to be completed and also election implementation. A new candidates information session is planned for fall, well in advance of the elections. So a significant amount of staff time will be spent on election service delivery, new council orientation, and revisiting plans with the new council. We will continue to modernize our operations to ensure electronic corporate memory. That's some of the major highlights out of the business plan besides our major core activities. And that's my report for today.
Thank you very much. So we will now continue with public presentations, and I will take them in order of having the sign-up sheet. Thank you. So the first one that we have is Kelly Glazer and Kevin Primo. Mr. Primo, are you going to do the presentation? Okay, thank you.
Kelly's the pro. Kevin Primo, 10617 81st Street, Osoyoos.
Oh, here. Oh, right. So you do that. Okay.
They got scrambled on the translation.
You know what? I'm not giving that. I've got one of those. I've got one already. He gave it to me. I can. You got enough of these? Because I don't. No. Oh. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Share this one.
I can share his if you're going up. Oh, good.
Go ahead when you're ready.
Yeah. Well, I hope this is an idea that's unique and that no one had thought of, because I hadn't thought of it either until about 4 or 5 months ago. But it's the event is the Osoyoos Sticks and Pics, and myself and Gord Bamford are involved as the founders. And just a little bit about me, very briefly. My career's been hockey. It's unavoidable growing up in Edmonton that I'd get into hockey, and I, from the backyard rink, went on to play professional, and later on coached with the Edmonton Oilers for 6 years, and then had a 40-year career as a coach. The significant thing about that is it gave me the opportunity to be involved with charity. And I was the co-chairman of the Kidney Foundation in Edmonton, along with Charlie Huddy. And we organized golf tournaments and other events to raise money for that charity. As a professional player and coach, I've also been involved in many golf tournaments, hockey events, and other events to raise money. Gord Bamford, you might not know about him, but he's one of the most decorated Canadian artists. 24 Canadian Country Music Association awards, 3 times Male Artist of the Year. Very, very significant artist. The only one to have won the Nashville's Global Country Artist 2 times. So he's a significant talent. More important than any of his awards are the fact that he gives back to charity. He's raised over $3 million since 2008 for the charities, and he's operated mostly in Alberta to date. Pics and Sticks, there's a lot of these tournaments going on all over the place, but this is the first time we're trying to do 3 together. Okay, and that's the reason for us to try to keep it smaller for the first year. The dates are May 16th and 17th. It's booked. It will involve the Edmonton Oilers alumni and the Vancouver Canuck alumni coming to town along with country music artists. Gord Bamford and Aaron Pritchett are confirmed. There's others that we're talking to. It started, I guess, I went and attended one of Gord's years ago as a player, his Pics and Sticks. It was reversed because it was mostly music guys and a few hockey guys, and I was impressed with it. And then this past fall, I went and took part in an Olympic golf tournament, and also 2 weeks later, an Edmonton fundraiser with the Oilers. So I thought, what can I do with my connections with these organizations to help Osoyoos? When we moved here, I thought I want to contribute to the community, and so this was the event that we thought would be significant. In conversations over the past weeks with people around town, we realized that it appeared it was a little more of an elite event, so we've really focused on trying to put Osoyoos first. We've actually added spots for the event so that it's available on an individual basis to Osoyoos residents, and not just the sponsorship packages. The sponsorships will be involve the priority is local involvement, and the first option to purchase all the packages will be given to Osoyoos businesses and residences. For the first year, the organizers want to ensure the success, so it's really important for us to involve the local community. And going forward, working with community members will even bring more and more things to the community. An example is a local artist. This within the last 4 or 5 days here. David George, GM at the Incomeep, has committed to donate several creations to help raise funds. He did one of Andy Moog that sold for $5,000 at a charity auction. And young Carson Cody Scholl has agreed to donate sketches of the country music stars. So we're involving local artists. And around the event, we're going to build a 2-day art exhibition where these can be displayed in town. So we'll bring that focus to the town. Economic impact, we're involving wineries, breweries, distilleries. They'll come and showcase their products at the reception and banquet. Local companies will be given first right of refusal for catering, photography, decorating. We've already probably got a company involved for the tents that we require up there, local business here. And indirect impact is the benefit of the attendees, that we're going to send these as much as possible, people out into the town and into the vineyards with tours and things like that. Celebrity guests will be given information packages about the town and what they can do. And the biggest thing here, I think, is the ongoing impact. This isn't what we want to have as a final thing. The Pics and Sticks is already booked for May 15th, 16th. We intend to include the Calgary Flames and possibly the Olympic team next year. Growing the numbers of registrations, we've talked already to Osoyoos Golf and Country Club. We'd like to use 2 golf courses. And the biggest thing is the vision for the concert. And Gord Bamford has agreed to consider the Desert Racetrack as a possible venue for a concert surrounding this event in the future with him, or his vision is to even be larger, a music fest. So you're going to get guys like that. He's the guy that can attract these people. Individual promoters can't put together a group of artists like that. So that's quite a large part of it. The marketing impact, the Gord Bamford's setting up a website already for this event, and it's got the name Osoyoos on it. So it's going to be on his site. Spirit Ridge is going to put it on theirs, and if they put it out to the height, it's 5.6 million database. And the reach from all the different artists involved is tremendous on social media. So Gord we've got, Aaron we've got, if we get Dallas and Chad, we've got a tremendous reach in terms of putting Osoyoos out there on all these different websites. The charity impact, my charity is Remax Children Miracle Network. It's through Remax that we supported. And in 2017, 190 Osoyoos and all of their families visited the BC Children's Hospital. So very, very local. Spirit of the Game will also profit. My goal is that we do 100,000 and they get 10,000. And everybody knows that charity. And Osoyoos Minor Hockey will be offered 1,000 tickets to sell, with the potential of making $7,500. We're giving them 50% of every ticket. Gord Bamford is a Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he'll direct funds to here, and also start a music therapy or support music therapy here, which helps special needs through music, ages 3 to 93. And if Chad and Dallas come on board, their charity is Basics for Babies. And at this time, we're also willing to listen to other worthy local charities that would like to have some of these funds. This is just a brief note from the Mayor of Ponoka, and just expressing what Gord's involvement in their town has meant, and not just the entertainment value and everything else, but just the financial support. So our request for support from the town is $25,000. We've received support from the Hyatt in terms of $12,000 in kind. Okay, and from Incomeep, $5,000, and that's the golf course and the carts and everything else. We're also seeking support from Destination Osoyoos, from the town of Oliver, and from the town of Penticton. And we're happy to open up our budget if you'd like to see where these funds are going.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And it's very ambitious what you have set out for a couple of months from now. So I'm just going to open it up to anybody on council who might like to ask any questions. Councillor Youngberg.
Thanks, Mayor McKortoff. Great presentation, Kevin, and of course you and I have spoke already about this, and I think it's a real progressive event that we will welcome to our community for sure. Have you actually got a commitment from the town of Oliver or city of Penticton at all?
I have just started the process, no.
You have?
No.
Okay.
I've started the conversations, but I haven't yet.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Could I ask the people that are coming to take part in this, your group that you've invited to come, the players and so on, are they paying a fee in order to come, or are they're not? They're coming totally on their own? And
yeah, they're coming on. Normally, it's very difficult to get these people to these charity events, and normally they charge, depending on who the star is, but Glenn Anderson will charge $10,000. Mark Messier will come to your charity event for $100,000. So what's significant here is this for this first year event, and it's largely due to some of my connections through the Oiler alum and also Gord Bamford. They're coming for $1,000 each, and plus the accommodations, which you don't get this level of celebrity to come to these events. It's really unique, and that's one of our larger expenses for the event. So, and they've agreed to come for a fraction of what they normally do, and that's why we're trying to make it an event where we don't have to pay. Eventually, all of a sudden, Glenn Anderson wants to come for $1,000 because that's what we want to create. It's the whole thing is for charity. So the less we have to spend on the players and those kind of things and different expenses, the more we can give to charity.
One more question.
Yeah.
At the hockey game at the South Event Center, will there be an admission charge?
Yeah, there will be. Yeah,
okay.
And that's part of the fundraising effort for the local minor hockey teams. Is that we will give them a ticket and they'll get 50%. So we're planning to give the Osoyoos Minor Hockey 1,000 tickets. So if they sell them all, they'll make $7,500 for their budget, for their travel and whatever things that they're short of. I hear all the time. I guess they win the championship and they have to collect money to go play in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the golf tournament? Local people will be able to participate.
Yeah, and that's part of. I visited the site with Corrine Gord's, the chairman of his foundation, and we determined that we could add people to the banquet and the concert, We still, for this year, it's still small. It has to be manageable. We want it to be successful. But we have, and we'll make tickets available that aren't tied to a sponsorship.
I see.
And for the golf as well. And then we've dedicated the sponsorships to talking to local people first. So I've already talked to 3 or 4 local people that are very interested in getting involved with the sponsorship. With the sponsorship, you get a marketing, you get the marketing, but you also get the event. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a good deal.
Kevin, you talked about local artists and some sketches of some of the musicians, and that's for auction?
Yeah.
Those items? Is there an opportunity for other local businesses to be able to contribute auction items?
Oh, absolutely.
Beyond that?
Absolutely. We're trying to raise as much money and involve as much of the community as possible, and we'll be asking, but the more that we can get, the more we can give. And the artist idea, and it came from feedback from the town and from you people that we weren't doing enough, and it just came up that I heard that this young artist, the young Osoyoos fellow, was a spectacular artist, and he had done a painting of Jacques Villeneuve, and it sold for, I don't know, thousands of dollars. And I approached him and said, would you like to do the same with I gave him the country music guys. And so he's going to sketch the country music guys, and those will be auctioned off with his signature and then with the country music guy's signature as well. So it's kind of a unique thing, and it just sort of evolved from us trying to make it more an Osoyoos event.
Great, thank you.
And I'm glad to hear you pronounce Osoyoos properly at the end, because there were a couple of times, and we talked about this the other day.
Working on it.
There is no soy in Osoyoos.
You can hardly tell
I
a
wasn't
school teacher.
I haven't been a permanent resident yet, so it'll.
We talked about this the other day, so he already knew that I was going to say that. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. Appreciate that. Next, we have the gift cupboard, and we have Gay Horn, Brenda DeRoche, and Jen Shields. Are you all going to talk, or no? Just one. Okay.
I think that's enough. My
Well,
name is Gay
thank
Horn.
you.
I live in Osoyoos, 6 Lambert Court. Mayor McKortoff, councillors, general public, thank you for having us. Thank you for having us here. We're here today to ask for a grant of $2,000 for operating funds for 2018. Pardon me, but I'm losing my sight, so I'm going to have to hold this really, really close. In the past year, the gift cupboard has provided over $3,000 worth of supplies, plus distributed approximately $2,000 worth of clothing and bedding provided by private donation. This included helping families and individuals that have suffered loss from fire or misadventure, and families needing help at Christmas, as well through the gift cupboard itself. We've been able to do this thanks to grants from the town of Osoyoos, the Osoyoos Credit Union, and donations from local businesses as well as private individuals. There are drop boxes in several businesses where donations to the gift cupboard can be made. Items we have received include clothing, new and used, as well as food. We have also received donations of new items that were auctioned off to raise always needed funds. Food provided has been given to the food bank, as we do not have the means to deal with such items. Goods which we did not pass on to those in need, we sold at a yard sale or through an online auction. We are pleased with the level of community involvement we are seeing. The younger elementary school students had a sock drive, while the older students did a door-to-door food, mitt, and scarf drive. One of the donations made this past year was a large number of balls of various sizes and colors of yarn. Thanks to several ladies, these were turned into scarves, which were provided to people who needed them. We also received donations from some visitors to Osoyoos from Alberta, one of which was also made from a mother who appreciated the help that her son received while traveling through Osoyoos last summer. There's an obvious need in Osoyoos for the services the gift cupboard is providing. We wish to thank the council for its support in the past. We look forward to continued support, and we would ask now that if we could be, please include it in your 5-year plan as a line item for $2,000 or $2,500 per year, so we don't have to continue asking every year. But we thank you for giving the gift cupboard the opportunity to make this request for support. So, are there any questions?
Thank you very much. Councillor King.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I want to thank you, ladies, first of all, for all the time and effort you put into this project. It's a well-needed service, and thanks again. Will you be looking at writing a grant for the Community and Aid grant?
Yes.
Again this
we
year?
are going to apply for every single grant there is that we can possibly have. As we have a financial statement where every penny we received and every penny we've spent and every donation is accounted for, and it's available at any time. We have a balance sheet for the year 2017, and as I said, we spent over $3,000, of which we didn't have. So yes, we apply for any and all grants.
Okay, thank you.
And we're very grateful for them
Thank you.
too. Thank you.
And we thank you for the work that the three of you have done, because we hear about it often, and we know that there's many people, both people in town and visitors, who appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you very
Councillor
much.
Youngberg,
Yep.
did you have something?
My sentiments. I see you loading that box every once in a while, so
I'm
I know.
sorry?
I said I see you girls loading that box every once in a while, so I know you're out there.
Oh, yeah, we definitely are.
It's a good service.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Councillor Rhodes, would you please let me know if any time you would like to ask a question? I'm sorry, I forgot about you the last one. You okay?
Yes, I will. Thank you, Member McKortoff. I'll definitely do that.
Okay.
Everything is good so far.
Thank you. Next, we have... Give me that.
You didn't even know I had it.
This is my new magic wand that I had Terry Schaefer made for me, and I have a box, and the one thing I was worried about is that
We're learning to share.
Campo is going to steal it. Next we have Matt Hassan and Cara Burton from the Museum Society, one of the hats they're wearing tonight.
Madam Mayor, my name is Matt Hassan. I live at 3204 Lobelia Drive here in Osoyoos. We've got a presentation which we'll send around to the table. Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity to make presentation in anticipation of this year's budget. The current annual grant to the Osoyoos Museum Society is $51,000. The amount has remained unchanged since 2009. Immediately following the successful referendum to purchase the property occupied by the Home Building Center as the new home for the museum in 2011, the Museum Society committed not to ask for additional financial support from the town. This was done because there was an honest belief at the time that the Museum Society would gain possession of the property within 2 to 2.5 years, and that new location would enhance revenues from admissions and render the Museum Society eligible for provincial support funding for museums in the order of $25,000 per year. Our current museum is ineligible for such funding as the location due to its condition of the building and the lack of protection for its artifacts. So when home building builders announced in 2012 that it planned to extend its lease to the maximum allowable, which was 5 years or to October 1st of 2016, the Museum Society stuck by its original commitment. In 2015, when the lease to Home Building Center was further extended to December 31st of 2019, the Museum Society reaffirmed its original commitment. In the interim, we have continued to bear costs and still apply for a variety of grants and shift resources within our budget in order to make ends meet, but still ensure fresh, attractive exhibits and extended services to the community while planning ahead for the new museum project. Now that we are 2 years from possession, 2 years minus 18 days, of the new facility, and activities are ramping up on both the new exhibit development and fundraising efforts, we need to increase our staff capacity in order to be successful, and particularly to avoid burning out our curator executive director, because we only have one staff member. To this end, we are looking to add a museum assistant position in order to acquire the knowledge, skills, and time required to do what needs to be done. In developing the budget for this year, we managed to make further adjustments within existing resources for part of what we need, but find ourselves short of the total amount required. Therefore, we are hoping that the town of Osoyoos will give consideration to releasing us from our 2009 commitment, our commitment from 2011 forward, and consider granting an increase in our annual grant starting in 2018. Ideally, we are hoping that the town of Osoyoos would consider an increase of $5,000 in our annual budget, bringing it to a total of $56,000. We will also be asking RDOS Area A Director to consider an increase in the RDOS grant to the museum, which is based on a percentage of the town grant. These increases would give us the additional budgetary ability to hire a full-time museum assistant at $20,000 per annum, which would clearly increase our capacity to improve collections management, develop new exhibits, and plan for the new museum in 2020. Now, we would hope to have an opportunity in the not-too-distant future to appear before council and provide an update report, because there are many things happening that we would like council and the community to be fully aware. We have a partnership with UBC Okanagan, which we'd like to talk about. We have 3, probably 4 new exhibits planned for the museum for this year alone, but nevertheless, that's for the future. So we would be pleased, Kara and I, to answer any questions council may have with regards to our request for consideration of an increase in our annual grant.
Well, thank you very much, and we do appreciate the fact that you have both continued to work hard to see our 2020 vision. I love that from the museum. Any time that you would like to come to town council, to a committee of the whole meeting, please just contact Mrs. Hilson. She would be happy to set it up.
We'll get a time of mutual convenience.
Absolutely. You've got a very comprehensive report here. I'm not sure whether we have any questions. We've heard both of you before, and we believe you, and we know what you're up to, and we appreciate it. So,
and you'll probably hear from us in the future.
I have a feeling we will. So, thank you very much. We will certainly take this under consideration.
We appreciate that very much.
Give one of these to Mrs. Hilson. Yeah.
Yes.
Good. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. And I would like to ask Jane Slater to come up, please.
Mayor McKortoff, member of council, my name is Jane Slater, 7802 89th Street, and I would like to address the piece of property that runs from 78th Avenue down to 89th Street, directly behind Peanut Pond. The east side of that property is owned by town, okay? So you guys know exactly where I'm talking about right now?
I think so.
Coming down from Smitty's towards Peanut Pond. The east side of that property is owned by town.
Okay.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
That is one of the few pieces of property, of streets, avenues, etc., that come off Main Street and have no sidewalks. It's a very dangerous piece of property there. People circumvent Main Street by taking that road. So we're talking the post office road, okay, going up to Smitty's and coming out. I live right there on the corner, so I am well aware of I can't believe there's no accidents there. We've got the big trucks coming from home building that don't fit onto one side of the road because it's too narrow there. We've got people in wheelchairs that want to come and sit there and watch the the wildlife. The property that's owned by the town is continually being eroded because town will shove all their snow up there. They didn't do that this year. They also empty the fire hydrant out there, so that land that belongs to town is all sinking into the pond, and it's a dangerous situation.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for pointing that out. We do have our Mr. Dinwiddie, in charge of Public Works, our operations director. He does have a look at roads and sidewalks and that type of thing on a yearly basis. Mr. Zackel, do you have anything to add to this?
Yes, and it's a valid point. We do have that project. It's sidewalk 89th Street, Smitty's to 78th. It is in our 5-year capital plan, but we have it in 2019 right now as far as when we were planning on getting that one done.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that. Are we allowed to address something else if we're standing here and we've taken way less than 5 minutes?
Is there anybody? Okay, let me just finish with this first. Is there anybody that had questions about that? I believe you mentioned this issue before, didn't you? And we did.
I've never addressed council, but I have
think you mentioned it to me.
emails to Osoyoos Listen.
So we do appreciate you coming and telling us about that. Please know that we are very careful about looking at all of those kinds of issues in the town, and we absolutely want to make this a safe place for sure. Okay, so go ahead with the other issue that you have.
Tiny houses. I would hope so much that the town council will be looking at and implementing zoning for tiny houses, because I think that it will be such a benefit to this town with our aging population, where you don't want people to actually live in your home, but you don't mind them taking up a spot on your property. With the transient population that we have, it would be ideal for them, and since we have so little long-term rentals, I think it would be nice if that was implemented.
I totally agree with you. We do have a new planning director who just started this week. And I think that she has a background in some of the areas that she has been a director. She may have some interesting ideas about this. And I was in one of these, a smaller home in Vancouver at UBCM, and I do have the piece of paper which I was going to share with her. So we certainly appreciate that, and we will certainly put that on an agenda to discuss. Anybody else want to say anything?
No, well taken. Yes.
Thanks very much.
We're looking at that. Yep.
Thank you very much. So that is the final. Those are the people that have signed up on here. We haven't missed anybody. No. Okay. Is there anybody else that needed to speak before we close down? Mr. Primo?
Just reviewing my presentation, I think I missed a significant piece of the community involvement as well, is that Gord Bamford also suggested that we have a local artist that will open for his show to give them the exposure and to help a young up-and-coming artist, and he struggled as a 19-year-old and 20-year-old, and so he's agreed to do that for the concert. So we'll pick a local artist, a music artist, and he'll open for his show.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So if that's all that we had for presentations tonight, I would take...
That's right. Oliver doesn't need any money. You guys are good?
Oh, if you're handing it out that far, I have a long list.
No.
I thought you brought a check.
Yeah.
When's your budget time? We got to come get some.
Yeah, share it around.
Yes.
I just take 5 minutes?
You didn't sign up here, but okay. Is that all right?
Is it to do with the budget?
Is it to do with? Yes. Please come up to the microphone then.
Thank you. I've had coffee with a few people in this room, and we'll have coffee with more people. But I just thought, since I'm here, this is my name is Kenton. Sorry, Kenton Gilchrist, 8032 Spartan Drive. So I've been mulling over an economic development idea for the last few months, and I don't know if it's a good fit for right now. It's going to probably end up being a very long burn project, but I'd like to start getting it underway. So we're looking at doing a series of economic development videos that would be aimed at showcasing what Osoyoos is like 10 months of the year when the tourists aren't here. So the idea is to kind of, through the lens of community members, show what the community is like, what it's like to live here, what it's like to raise a family here, in order to attract new young families to town, bolster the school population, bolster the workforce of people who work in media and tech industries in particular, who would represent a net influx of capital into the community. If they're moving from Vancouver and porting their existing clientele from there, then they're able to work from here now. We've got telesoptic internet. They don't have to worry about any of that stuff anymore. It's definitely a long burn. We're probably looking at 2 years in order to get it done. But I just thought I'd put it out there. I have no idea what sort of results you need to see from the money you're contributing to projects like this on a yearly basis. Ideally, we'd like to start interviews with locals over the next few months.
So are you asking for a certain amount of money? Is that like?
I think probably $5,000 would get us going over the next 6 to 10 months in getting interviews done and being able to make essentially a shot list, we'd call it. So we're going to sit down with locals, have them tell their stories. I could go into hours worth of details on the creative side of things. Basically, we're looking at doing 10 vignettes, showcasing basically short films, 3-minute videos, showcasing what it's like as a single parent, what it's like as a young couple with kids, a young couple without kids, and the different things that they're involved with in the community. And then cross-purposing that footage and putting together edits that are keeping active in Osoyoos, or what's the nightlife like in Osoyoos, and basically conveying the idea that you're not losing anything by leaving Yaletown and moving to this small community. Osoyoos has everything those communities have to offer. So that's kind of the nuts and bolts of it.
I have a feeling that we would need to have some kind of package put together, a proposal. Mr. Romanko?
Well, certainly, and I just have a question. Have you talked to our economic development people at Destination Osoyoos at all?
So I made a presentation in October. I've looked at ways of sort of streamlining the process. There's a similar project we worked on about 10 years ago for Squamish that was in the neighborhood of about $100,000, and that's just not going to fly here. I trimmed it down, made a presentation to Destination Osoyoos for a $30,000 campaign. That's still way beyond their means. And so I've been just trying to find a way, just kind of backing off the idea a little bit here and saying, okay, how can we get this done? If there isn't the financing there, if there's not the public financing there, I've been talking to private stakeholders, other media people here in town who have offered to help with interviews and help with putting together shot lists and various different things to just try and get the ball rolling and piecing it together. But definitely, if it's going to be done with money and not just volunteer, it's definitely beyond Destination Osoyoos means.
Well, I guess as the mayor says, I think the place to start is with a proposal.
Sure.
Something. Again, we don't have this specifically in our business plan relative to a project to fund. It would have to make it through that process. And we would have to consult with Destination Osoyoos because we do give them project money as a town, and to see where they would see this as well. So, but certainly we would need something in writing, and the key goals, activities, costs, product, a timeline, just to start.
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a minute, Councillor Youngberg had a question.
Sure.
Hi, Kenton. I know Kenton from the past, and I just will hope that when you do a presentation, you give us an example of all the tremendous work that you've done in this area in the past.
Thanks, Carol.
Because you have been a real asset to the wine industry and also to several of the other organizations here.
I wasn't planning to speak tonight. I just thought I'd pop up, so I didn't come prepared with any.
I just wanted to add that.
Like that.
Well, that would be important.
Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor King.
Yeah, Ken, I think you got a great idea. I actually sat in on your presentation with Theo as a representative of the town. I think it's just sitting down and trying to fine-tune it and maybe helping you identify some partners, which would make it easier to get some funding to move forward, because I think it would be a major marketing piece of material for this town.
For
Thanks, sir.
economic development, absolutely.
Well, let's chat at Tim Hortons tomorrow then. All right.
We could probably fund the nightlife portion right now, but
Film that tonight.
So, thank you very much, and I'm glad that you spoke up. And we certainly look forward to seeing something concrete from you if we need to consider it in our budget process. That would be the only way we could possibly deal with it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, so what we will have now is these presentations will be looked at by our staff, and we will bring them back. And before we finalize the budget, we will certainly have a look and see whether any of them can be included in the budget, and how much. So we do appreciate that. Is there any? Mr. Romanko.
Yes, so just in terms of process, all these projects will be brought back in a report to council for decision on February 5th.
Okay.
Every project will be laid out.
Okay.
We may have to go back to the requesters and seek out additional information or something like that. But it is intended in terms of our budget process to have a decision made on December 5th, if at all possible.
February 5th.
Yeah, February 5th, yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you to all of you for coming, and I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, Councillor Campbell, Councillor King.
Yeah.
Oh, and thank you, Councillor Rhodes, for being part of this as well.
Well, thank you for putting up with those awkward way of